The content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine, podcast, and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. Hello, welcome to 2026. Today I have the privilege of reconnecting with LaToya Southwell, who is one of our amazing contributors, but this time she is on the cover of Top Women 2026. She is a doula assistant manager and lactation counselor who is originally from Antigua and later St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. And this island upbringing has shaped her culturally inclusive approach to birth and family life. She is very passionate about helping provide support to new parents, all while she's juggling her own life with her husband, her 4 children, and her really cute tuxedo cat, Vinny. Welcome back, LaToya.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yes, and a happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
She's going to have an amazing day today because today we're exploring I Am Sovereign, which is the theme for our January new moon issue. And in your article, LaToya, that is called Sovereignty is Power. What is power? A reflection on inner strength, growth, and faith. You deeply explore the meaning of power, going beyond control, titles, influence. And you really tap into something that is more internal, rooted in your knowledge, your self-belief, resilience, love, and faith. And so for those who haven't read your article yet, perhaps give a little recap about what you wrote about and maybe why you wrote this article. Where did it come from?
Over the last few years has been very challenging. Needless to say, I went through a very difficult period in my life where I realized that little girl was still needed to be loved. I was still yearning love from my parents and love from others. And it was a big blow to the gut. Like, you're in your 40s and you're still seeking this need, this yearning, this void that you're feeling, and I didn't realize it. And it was really getting into my word and standing on my faith where I realized it starts with me. As much as you hope for someone to love you the way you want to be loved, they can't, right? Because you don't even know how you need to be loved. We will continue on this hamster wheel, per se, of seeking this validation. All you need is from within you. When you know how to love you, you won't allow people to just treat you like you're less than. And so that was a big aha for me, a big blow, pain, a lot of tears. But, I was very grateful for the blinders being taken off. And I thank God that I'm here today, that I walked the path I walked to see what I needed to see to start this journey of loving myself. And that way breaking those generational traumas and curses from my children to have to do the work.
Yes. Well, I'm going to go back. It must be close to 18 months ago when you and I were talking about this front cover. And I remember exactly where I was when you called me. And every time I drive by there, I think of you now because it's not something I frequent. And I was on a walk waiting for my car to get its oil changed. And I remember you saying, I'm doing this. I'm choosing me. it is time for me to
Yeah.
step up and do something for myself. And this is when you chose to be on the cover. You were standing in your sovereignty, standing in this deep love for yourself, nurturing yourself. And now here we are 18 months later. And I would love to know if you reflect back on that moment, because you were shaking your head, remembering that moment so well. What has changed? What has changed for you in those roughly 18 months waiting for this cover to come out? Oh, you've
Oof.
got so many tears coming down. I love this so much.
A lot definitely have been a roller coaster. But I've mentioned being grateful for this eye opening because of the line of work I do. And it's not work for me, right? I really love it. It's a ministry for me. Being able to go out there and share my testimony. And it's always with women who need to hear it. In the line of what I do, it's amazing how everything lined up in the sense of where I had to rip off the Band-Aid and show myself, had to explain my walk, my journey, things that I've endured. And, people reaction is, you don't look like you went through that. I'm like, I'm not supposed to. Why should I look like that? Right? But it's actually facing those what's called skeleton in the closet, taking back what people will use against you. Right? If, facing your past and being okay with it because it is exactly that. It's your past. And whoever want to use that to define who you are really and truly don't love you. Then they're not your cheerleader. So it's important to get to know who's around you, creating that village and that community for who will support you in your downtime. And me walking through that, my kids seeing my journey, I'm grateful for that because I'm able to explain. And I don't want to hide it. I don't believe in hiding it. I believe that when you hide it, you're allowing people to dictate your path. And so I don't hide it. I use it whenever it's necessary. And when I explain, it's like your journey's not for you, right? What you go through, your experiences is because there's somebody else who's going to walk behind you who needs that helping hand. And if you've never walked the path, how can you help them? And so I'm grateful for the path. A lot of growth has came out of it, just learning who I am, still battling a lot of balancing act, working the organization and working privately and being a mom and being a wife and, working this ministry, being a blessing to others.
For sure. And I 100% agree with you that we as women often have armor on. We have masks on. We have all of these things to shield us from who we were in the past. And we don't have to wear them as a quote unquote badge of honor, right? Many
Mhm.
people have said to me, I can't believe, I don't know if I'm able to say the full language, so I'll just say SA. Most people know what that term means now, but I'm an SA victim times two. And, it's one of those things where people are like, really? And I'm like, yes, times two. Once when I'm not sure of the
Yeah.
age, maybe 5 or 6, and the
Yeah.
other one around 12 years old. And many people are
Right.
like, well, me too. But you're so happy. And I'm
Yes.
like, well, that does not define me. It
Mhm.
informs me and who I
Right.
am and the work that I want to do in this world to uplift women. However, those things don't define me. And I love that you don't hide it from your children. I don't hide it from my daughter
Mm.
either. I hold my entire journey with pride and share it with her. And anybody who wants to hear, frankly, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
But I love
Exactly.
that your experience has been reminding you over and over again that the power is not gained externally. So much of our lives, we're looking for that external validation in either people's words or buying things that make us feel better or whatever it may be, or reading that next self help book to help you, right?
Yeah.
But you really hone in on the importance of internal power, of not looking externally, and how when you go within and you get a little quiet, that internal work really gives you the strength to regain and claim your personal power.
Yeah, you know, I love journaling. I love journaling. My aunt said to me, I was around the age of 18, I said to her, how do you have a strong relationship? She told me never to go to sleep upset. And so it was really regarding marriage, understanding marriage. So I've always applied that to my relationship. With my husband, I would wake him up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. He's like, it's true. I was like, yeah, but it's time for me. I want to go to sleep, but this really bothers me. And so I started to write things and just leave it in areas that he can see. And after going through what I went through 2 years ago, like the big level, I start writing again. And as you said last year, I'm going to take a leap. And that's when I called you. But it's applying that to writing it. I encourage a lot of people to write their feelings if you're not ready to speak to that person, because it doesn't make sense to go talk to this person when they're not in a place to receive it. And you're not in a place to really explain in the way you really want to. You're still in that emotional place. And you may say something that you really can't take back. So I'm doing my best to be careful with my words because, I tell people I'm very straight up, very honest, and very mean. But I don't ever want to offend anyone, right? But people say, my eyes speak, my mouth, my face speak, and I love that it speaks because I say, good, read it. I don't want anyone to say they didn't know. And so going back into write what I feel so it doesn't go into tomorrow. Starting to respect myself because you're taught to respect everyone else and appease everyone else and honor everyone else and trust everyone else. Well, what about yourself? Because the longest relationship you've had is with yourself. We work so hard to try to get to know someone else, but we don't give the same time to self. And so really doing that work and really starting to love me. And it's funny because everyone is like, what are you doing today? I was like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? It's your birthday. I haven't thought of it. I just being able to lay down and enjoy the day.
Which is exactly what you should be getting. It's so funny. I cannot remember who I was speaking to, but she said, I'm going to start dating myself to know myself again, because that is when we actually do all the work, is when we're dating somebody, right? We get to know them with their history, their family history, all of that, right? And I loved that because I'm like, oh, you're going to take yourself on a date and go get to know yourself. I love that so much. And when you were talking about journaling, I too love journaling. And I have found with journaling that there is this whole subconscious that comes out when I'm, unconsciously journaling, because at some point it will become unconscious and you just start writing. And there are things that come out during the journaling process that you're like, where did that come from? But when your subconscious kicks in, that's kind of like the whispers of your soul really speaking to you. And have you ever had that experience?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I get them different times. Even when I am not at the position to write, it's so relieving. And it's like you're releasing to someone else. You're talking to someone else, but that person is not judging you, right? That person's just sincerely getting to know who you are and loving you for who you are without judgment, right? And so, I do. That's the same thing I say about dating yourself. You got to date yourself. You got to know what she likes, who she likes, everything about her. Because then you can then guide the next person on how to love her.
It is time to rise. We are being called to stand behind independent voices, movements, and media that refuse to be owned. Sovereign Magazine has never spoken to an advertiser, a corporation, or a billionaire. We are a grassroots movement made for and funded by you. If you are ready to rise, to shatter ceilings, and to stand in your truth, do it with us. It's free. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share. Every click helps us reach more people around the globe, ready to remember who they are. Are you coming with us?
For sure. Okay, so let's go into the daily life of LaToya because I know that it's really busy and I really want to help the women out here understand how you stay grounded in your sovereignty and in your power despite being pulled in so many different directions. And so when you are in the busyness of life and you're wanting to tap more into your sovereignty or not do people pleasing or be that grounding force amongst the chaos, what do you typically do? What practices do you use? What do you tap into in those moments?
My faith, I have amazing women that I go on and I just be able to release and be completely honest and open. And I look forward to that every week. And then I have a prayer book and another book that I take notes. I have many other books, but those are the ones I usually walk with sometimes because I might have a random one because randomly I will get these thoughts and I just sit down and write. I need to get it out, these ideas. And it's usually around my ministry, my doula work. And because just like you mentioned, I have a passion of wanting to help these women, right? And I just feel like there's not enough support out there. It's not enough support. It's this thing that they feel like, oh, you're pregnant. And pregnancy, it's like nothing. You carry this baby. I mean, you go into the hospital and you push this kid out and then you just have this kid. And it's so much more than that. And so I like to sit down and I think about many of the clients that I speak to and I give them what's called homework. And it's if you can have the best day ever, like the day you really want it, write that. And then the next one is if you willing to compromise, tell me where. And the other one we speak about C-section, even though it's maybe a 1%, it's still a percentage to talk about because God forbid it happens. That's where you then fall into depression because we didn't have that conversation. So I sit down and I think about that and I pray and I enjoy that moment, do my best to take that moment and think about how can I be there for that person and show them love and not just say the words, but actually be present with them and make their day the best that it can be.
Oh, I'd love to go a little bit deeper into the moments that you have with these women. So, for anyone who has had a child, almost everyone, I would assume, has had this moment where they feel as if they might be losing control, right? Because this being inside of us is really dictating what's going to happen to our bodies, right? So, for 9,
Mm-hmm.
10 months, if you had the privilege of having a full birth, some people have premature births. And if anybody knows me, my background is in neonatal intensive care. So that's my experience. I was just chatting with somebody in our community over the weekend, and we are calling ourselves sisters from another mister because we were describing our births together. And for 18 hours, I tried a natural birth. I wanted a natural birth so bad, but she was having decelerations, and it really came a point where her life was in danger. And I needed to get an epidural because I was so tense and not relaxed. I had just a half a centimeter left of my cervix, and they were afraid I was going to tear it. And so, sure enough, as soon as I relaxed and got some sleep, because I had been up by that point for about 2 days, I relaxed, I dilated, and several hours later, with lots of emergencies, she came out fine, but lots of meconium and all of this stuff. But there was that moment when I had to, quote unquote, give up on my plan, where I felt like I was no longer in control and losing my personal power. Now, I was not the person I am today, and I would view it so differently now.
Yeah.
However, at that moment, because my plan was not going the way that I wanted it to, I felt disempowered and not in my own sovereignty at that point, right? That there were the IVs and things taking over and all the monitors. And then I was like, should I have done a home birth? Oh, no, then she might have died. There's all these things that go into your mind, right? And
Yes.
so for that woman that you are meeting with, she's transitioning through all of these different phases where you talked about that there's that 1% of a C-section, right? And that's what me and this other woman in the community were talking about, how her second child, she ended up having to have a C-section and then had 3 successful VBACs after that. But we often can feel like we've lost some power and some control. So how do you help women in those different phases stand in their power? And like you said, you show them love and kindness, but how do you help them reclaim that personal sovereignty?
I speak to them about the truth. The truth of the matter is that you had your baby. The truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, regardless of how you had your baby, and even if it didn't turn into a C-section, I speak to even moms who have had all natural. The fact remaining is that when your options come, listen, we continue down this path, you can lose your child. Or if we do a C-section, guarantee, honestly speaking to yourself, which choice are you going to make, right? At the end of the day, when the options are lose your baby or have your baby, we're choosing to have our babies. And so I tell them, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. These are the choices you had, and you made the decision that you made that was best for you. Because honestly, if I was in your position, that would be my decision, right? Because if you had continued down the path of so gun-ho of having natural and you lose your baby, this will be a different conversation. So it's just a matter of the truth.
Yeah.
You had your baby.
Yeah.
And thank God you can hold your baby.
And I always used to say when I was at the bedside or as a nurse manager, you're making the best decision you can at this moment in time with the
Yes,
information you have.
absolutely.
You might have more information in an hour or two, but right now you're making the best decision. And you know what? You can't go back. You can't look back and be fear of that decision. So as we move into this amazing year, 2026, and it's your birthday today, what would be some of your advice for the women who are about to head into 2026 and maybe don't feel as sovereign as they want to? What would be your recommendation for some things they should do this year?
Start to look at you. Everything that you do, every decision, it really starts with you at the end of the day. So start taking time and getting to know you. Taking that step back and looking from a different perspective. And also get to know the people who are around you, because a relationship that is worth having is not someone taking or depleting you. It's a give and take. So as you're pouring into them, they're going to pour into you. So you're not depleted. And stand in your ground. Stand in your ground. If you don't live your life for you, you're living life for somebody else. And be proud of your journey and your story, because if you don't tell your story, somebody else would tell it. But the difference is their story about you. So in order to have what you're proud of, is you have to be willing and proud to tell your story, share your story, because it's yours.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Be proud to share your story, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that, because guess what? It is your story. I love that perspective. of if you allow somebody else to speak your story for you, it's from their perspective about you and not yours. Oh, that is so beautiful. Such good advice for moving into this beautiful year we're going to have of rebirth and power. And yes, 2026 is going to be amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. For anybody who wants to connect with LaToya, not only is she in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com, all of her details are in the show notes. You can connect with her there on social. She also has a website where you can connect with her about all things doula, birthing, lactation consulting, all of that. Thank you so much for being here today and being such a bright star.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.